I told him like, yeah, I read it somewhere. We have to embrace the suck. In Datascrip, we have a group called Datascrip Mountaineering Club. So we climb. Well, basically we hike up mountains. There's a nice story. We were, I think at the time we were climbing Mountain Arjuno, and it was heavy rain during the climb. So at the time I was like, I was talking to the teammates, basically, and I told him like, yeah, I read it somewhere. We have to embrace the suck, basically. So this sucks, right? Like, I mean, you're tired, you're hungry, you want to go, you just want to set up camp and sleep, but it's raining heavily. Everything's wet, So we have to embrace the suck. But my friend here, he says like, no, we should see it differently. When you say embrace the suck, that means you're admitting that it sucks, right? But why don't you see it differently? I mean, you have the privilege to be in the mountain. You have the privilege of a good health. You have the privilege of having a friend. A good experience and everything. And when was the last time you were like soaking up wet in the rain? Plus, you're in a beautiful mountain. So, not embracing the suck, but enjoying the life, basically. So I was like, and it set me aback. And at the time I was like, yeah, well, this is tough. Everything's slippery, everything's wet. But after he said that, I was like, oh yeah, this is a privilege.
Yeah.
I mean, then at the time, the whole mindset, changes. So I was actually enjoying the rain. I was like, oh man, this is nice.
Yeah.
So it's a funny story.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's why I take up triathlon. So it's a swimming, biking, and running. Don't get me wrong, I'm still suck at that. I'm still finishing at the back. But I enjoy the experience because even when you're cramping, all your legs are cramping. You get tired. You just basically just want to crawl. In the last running stage, you just want to crawl. You just cannot take it anymore. But I don't feel like stressed. But I feel privileged, even in those basically torture, because I feel like not everybody can do this. Not everybody has the health, probably the money, or probably the time to do this. So I was feeling very privileged to do that. So that's another way of seeing that.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to ask about that because that's very interesting. I think definitely, first of all, I completely resonate with that too. I think what you're talking about is basically having a different perspective in order to obtain a certain amount of gratitude, right?
Yeah, sure.
And then so when I mentioned about the three things that or at least the process that I go through, which is like accepting, and then afterwards being able to see what's gonna make understand the situation, so it makes you what's gonna make you feel better. And number three is about kind of what you're gonna learn from it. I kind of see that as like actually those three things, just doing it rapidly, in the sense that when you first go through the triathlon, when you go through the rain, you're not gonna, most likely the first thing's not gonna be like, oh yeah, like this is so beautiful. It's gonna be yeah, I mean, like, this kind of sucks, but then you quickly learn, okay, I'm gonna accept that it's raining, I can't do anything about it. Then the second step is gonna be, all right, like what's gonna make me feel better? It's gonna understand the situation and embrace it. And then when you look back in your life, you're gonna see that the perspective that you should have is actually gratitude, right?
Yeah.
And so I think the way I'm understanding the situation is actually it kind of going through those three things, but very quickly. In a sense that you go straight to number, like basically 1, 2, and 3. And the third one is going to be about what you learn, and what you learn is the gratitude. Yeah. What you learn is about what bothers you, but taking that into a misfortunate situation into a positive outcome, right?
Yeah,
and that's kind of the way that I think we can go through.
Yeah, I think over the years I've grown to appreciate little things in life. I wasn't like this when I was young. But I think when I'm grown, I get to appreciate little things. So that's why I still like to. Before the pandemic, I still like to go around with Gojek. So just to feel like because I drive around in a car, so I'd like to feel something different, enjoy a different experience, and then to make you appreciate that, wow, I have a car.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you're taking a Gojek and it's it's so hot, and then sometimes you get soaked in the rain. Then you start to appreciate little things that you already have.
Yeah.
So that's nice thing.
And there's a difference between like everyone knows to have gratitude. I think that's like it's no longer like it's not a difficult thing to comprehend. But I think how to feel it.
Yeah.
You know, like well, I think that's very important, right? Because like anybody, like if you, for example, if you talk to like someone who's mentally like not in a good place, it's like you can tell them like, okay, you need to have gratitude, and they'll probably know that. But how do you help them, or how do you show them to experience that? Like, what did you guys kind of go through in your life? Like, what about you, Ray? Like when you think about, I should be grateful. The fact that I'm in school, the fact that I have this, even though I just got a bad grade, even though because I got in a fight with my friend. But like, how do you remind yourself? How do you feel that gratitude?
Yeah, sure. Definitely for me, I think this is something I learned along the way as well, right? I didn't learn it like from when I was born, but it's through like all these hardships and you actually learn it, and reading different books. But for me, I think it's definitely like perspective. Yeah, it's like putting things into perspective, as you mentioned before. Like, okay, you get a bad grade. Maybe also think about it in perspective that there's millions of other students out there who also got a bad grade, right? It's not like it's the end of the world. Like everyone else is also facing it. So it's not like specific you. It's not like you're not really the problem, but maybe like it was just like you weren't prepared enough, or it was just a bad day. But I think what's important as well, which ties back to our previous discussion, is reflecting, right? Like, why did I get this bad grade? Was it something that's within my control? Like, was it because I didn't study enough? Was it because like I didn't sleep enough the day before? Like, what is it, right? What is it that's within my control, and what is it that's not within my control that caused this to happen? And I think for the things that weren't in your control, like, you shouldn't really sweat about it too much, right? So I think it would be that for me, right? Putting things into perspective and actually understanding what's within your control and what's not within your control. Right. I think that's my thought.
True.
Yeah.
How about you, B? What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point. I think there's definitely that component of perspective that I think is very important. And I think the one of the things that I mentioned before as well is just I think you kind of have to embrace it too, right? Like you just let yourself feel whatever you have to feel. It's okay. Yeah. We're all human. Don't try to fight it. Don't try to hide from it. Don't try to bury it. Yeah. Just like embrace it and let you feel. Because I think in the grand scheme of things, if you trust yourself, you know that eventually you're gonna be able to get to that point where you feel better. One day you're gonna wake up, you're gonna feel better. The next day you're gonna wake up, you're gonna feel even better. And then that's how you know you're going down the right steps, right? And then, but like, I think being able to just kind of accept it the way it is, then that's going to be good. But I really like what you said too, Ray, when you said, try to focus on things you can control, and then don't worry about the things you can't. Because that's so it's happened so often here right now, especially when you're talking about like going back to like getting a job, for example. If you really did your ultimate best for the recruiting and the interview process, you did exactly what you could. Your CV is already the best that it can be, and you still didn't get the job. Should you even worry about you getting a job? Why don't you just focus on the process and then accept the fact that whether you get the job or not, there's going to be another best opportunity for you. If you get it, that's great. If you don't get it, there's always something better. Yeah. And I think having that perspective, for me at least, it gave me a lot of peace, because then you don't just sweat the things that you can't control. If there's going to be another candidate that's more fitting, you can't control that. So I think being able to just focus on the process and then looking at that perspective
and look at things that you can do to improve. Right? So that when opportunity arises, you can get the job. Basically,
yeah, definitely.